Hello and welcome to the Home Care Institute Administrator Training video. In this video, we're going to cover how to manage your user list. To start off with, let's simply go over some of the most common things you'll have to do on the user list. First, let's inactivate a user. So let's imagine that Oliver here is no longer with our company. The first thing we're going to do is use the action column to indicate to the system that there has been a change to Oliver's account. We'll use a C to indicate change. Then the change we're going to make is to his status. Status refers to his ability to log on. All of these users have an A, meaning they're all active, they can all log on. To close Oliver's account, we'll have to change this A to an I for inactive. Just like that, we can save this and send this to support. To send this to support, you can either use the ticket system or email. In addition to using this link for the ticket system, you can also access this from homecareinstitute.com via Contact HCI Support. Once you send this list to HCI Support and you receive confirmation that Oliver's account is closed, then you can delete him from your user list if he's really gone from the company, and you won't have to reactivate him in the future. If you may have to reactivate Oliver in the future, then simply delete the C and leave him on your list. Now let's try adding a new user. A new user is the only change which won't have a C in the action column. Instead, we're going to use an N to indicate to the system that it has to create a new account. Then we're simply going to fill out all of these columns from B to O according to the format that's laid out already. You can look closely at the other entries in these columns, and you can hover over the column title. If you hover over the column title and you don't receive this pop-up window, you can also refer to the field definitions sheet. This has the same information as that pop-up window. For our new user, we'll want them to be active so they can take training. We'll also only make this person a learner. A learner is any user who can log on and take training, but doesn't need to manage other users. A manager would be someone who manages a small team of users, but not all users. And a site administrator would be anyone who needs access to the entire company. You may have as many managers or site administrators as you like. After the permission role, we can move on to the username. The username must be distinct for all accounts, including closed accounts. So even though Oliver is no longer with the company, I cannot use OTherapist HCI. So let's imagine our new person is John Smith. This company has the format of first name initial, last name, HCI. J. Smith, HCI. Capitalization is not important for the username. However, the capitalization that you use for the name columns will be what shows across the site and on any certificates. Please note that the last name is listed first. So we'll want to put Smith, John, not the other way around. In fact, on homecareinstitute.com, the last name is usually listed first, last name, first name. The email address, filled in due to my auto-formatting, but is not required. We do recommend it, especially for site administrators, because there's many ways that the site will try to communicate with you via email. Manager is also not required. A site administrator will have access to the entire company, whether or not they're listed as the manager. And no user is required to have a manager, including the site administrator. Of course, it does no harm, as we see here. Amy, although she is a site administrator, is listed as a manager for the other managers at the company, for Mary and for Darla. And that's fine, but it doesn't really add anything. Mary and Darla, on the other hand, must be listed as the manager. This creates their team. So Darla's team is actually only comprised of Lori and Diane. Those are the only users that Darla can see when she runs a report and assign training to. Mary, on the other hand, can assign training and run reports on any of these users who have her listed as their manager. You can simply click and drag, or you can copy and paste. The username in particular must be exact. On to the hire date. The hire date is not a required field, but it's something we can use to help differentiate between assignments and to run reports. If you do use the hire date, just make sure the hire date is never further in the future than the user list is being uploaded. So for example, if today is June 8th, and you're going to upload the user list on June 8th, you would not want the hire date to be June 9th or further in the future. The reason for that is, let's say the user will not actually be starting until the 12th. If I put the 12th as the hire date, I won't be able to search for the user or assign training until the 12th. So, simply put today's date, June 8th, 2017. Job title is again not required, and you can put whatever you like here. For the business unit columns, Level 1 is required, Level 2 and 3 are not. But these do follow very specific formats. The business unit Level 1 code should be the same for all users. Simply click and drag or copy and paste. If you are using Level 2 and Level 3, then you must use an existing code. These codes are created by HCI support when we create branches within your company. You'll notice that although we have an administrative and a home health branch, they still use specific codes which repeat the business unit Level 1. This keeps them unique to your company. In some cases, the business unit Level 2 or 3 code may be a single word, a single location or city name. However, for the most part, these will look something like this. If you are using business unit Level 2 or 3 and would like to add a new code, or you would like to begin using business units Level 2 and 3 to subdivide your company, simply let support know, and we can create those business unit levels for you. At that time, we will also tell you what the proper codes are. Finally, job classification. This is another very strict field. You cannot add new job classifications that have not already been created within the system. The reason for that is that these are used to map training. So, for example, if I make a mistake and I accidentally make my new occupational therapist HHOTT, then when I go to make an assignment for HHOT job classification, this person would not get that assignment due to the typo. So we simply do not allow any new entries, and this eliminates the possibility of typos. It means that our support team will catch any time that there is an error and be able to correct it with you before any assignment issues take place. If you're not sure which job classifications you can use, there is another sheet which shows you all of the available options. Just find the description that most closely matches the job position of your employee and use that job classification code. If none of those job classifications work well for your organization, we can make custom codes for you, but you'll just have to contact support for that. So let's go back to the beginning and just go over some of the finer points. You'll need to put an entry in column A anytime you need a change made. This includes closing accounts and adding new users. All changes would be C, closing accounts, updating information, except for new users, which are N. Closing accounts or reactivating accounts is done by changing the status. The permission role controls what tools that user has access to. So a learner would look like an admin who's only admin in name. You see, she doesn't have any reports, she doesn't have any team training items, and she doesn't have a drop-down menu like a site administrator would. The username must be unique. One point to note about this: if you have to change the username, whether due to a typo or a name change, please make sure that you tell support that you've changed the username when you send them the user list. Last name is listed before first name. Email address is optional but recommended. Manager name. Managers are not required, and a site administrator will have access to everyone in the company even without being listed as a manager. However, even though you may have the permission role of a manager, like Mary and Darla do, if your name is not listed as a manager for any users, then there will be no users on your team, and when you run reports or assign training, you won't be able to find anyone. Hire date is not required, but if you do use a hire date, make sure the hire date is not placed in the future, is no later than the date that you are uploading the user list. Job title is not required and can be whatever you please. Business Unit Level 1 should be the same for everyone in your company. Business Unit Level 2 is not required, and in fact, if some users don't have it initially, it can be added later with no issues. If you are using Business Units Level 2 or 3, please make sure you're using the correct code. You can email support at any time to change these, add these, or ask questions about them. For job classification, make sure you're using an approved job classification code. You can find these on the job classification sheet. And if you would like new ones to be added, you can simply make that request to support. Some other fine points of the user list are: you can name the file whatever you would like, and in fact you can name the user list sheet whatever you would like. But the sheet that has all of the user information must be first. It cannot be behind any of the other sheets. To send us your list, you can use the ticketing system, which you can access from HCI, and you can also send it via email to support, and our support team will handle it quite quickly. If you ever have any questions about your user list, or if you would like an updated copy of your user list because you're afraid that yours has gone out of date, you can contact support at any time, and we'll be happy to help you with any questions you might have. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video has been helpful.